morning. It is day 4. It's a really blustery, stormy, windy day outside. And I'm trying to muster up the energy to go into the gym. I'm going in. I'm just exhausted today. I did not sleep well. So let's hope that the gym peps me up a little bit. I am exhausted. It was a great day today, subbing for the librarian. I was basically just helping with this big volunteer luncheon that they were having and getting everything set up, helping keep things supplied when they were having all the volunteers. And it was people like us. All of us, the paras and the subs and everybody who was there could eat the food too, but it was mostly for the people who come in and volunteer their time. And then cleaning up afterwards. And then I did get to do some shelving at the very end of the day, but it was mostly this big luncheon, and it was fun. It was fun doing something different. I was telling the library assistant, I was like, it's just nice having someone else in charge for a change, because every day in the class when I'm subbing, I'm the one in charge. And it's great. I love being a teacher, don't get me wrong, but every once in a while, you just want someone to tell you what to do, and just do it. I'm at the library now. I just picked up some holds that I have of movies, because I have this bug up my butt where I want to watch all the best musicals all throughout history. Musical movies since the first non-silent film all the way through to today. I want to watch, not all of them, but the best musicals, or musicals that were considered the best or groundbreaking and stuff. And then I'm gonna head home and I'm gonna start editing day 3. I'm going to hopefully get my hour and 20 minutes of reading today. I'm exhausted though, so I'm hopefully I can stay awake long enough. And I don't have any big plans for this evening. Just get some of my stuff done, kind of like last night, but my vlog shouldn't be as long for yesterday. Okay, so even though they're movies, I do want to give you a bit of a library haul. And the first movie, the oldest musical, according to what I've read, from 1927 is The Jazz Singer. And once talkies were a thing, there was music and stuff in talkies, but I think this was the first official musical. I've read some things that say it's pretty problematic, so I imagine that it is 1927, and I can imagine, based on 1927, what to expect in this. Then from 1929, I've got 2 movies. The first one is actually also the very first all-black feature-length film, and that's Hallelujah by King Vidor. This was King Vidor's first video within talkies, non-silent films. And then I've also got, there's multiple movies on here, but the ones I'm planning on watching are The Love Parade, also 1929, and then Monte Carlo was another one on my list, and that was from 1930. So I don't know anything about these ones. I just know that they're considered some of the better, higher rated musicals from that time period. And then the last one is from 1936, and that is Showboat. And this one has lyrics by Oscar Hammerstein, starring Irene Dunne, and it's based off, was Showboat a book? It says, yeah, it's an adaptation of Edna Ferber's sprawling novel about, I'm guessing, paddle boats up the Mississippi River. So that is 1936. So we'll see how these go. I'm very curious to see the progression of musicals throughout movie history. And I'm starting in the 1920s and 30s. There's not as many options, or not as many favorites from the 1920s and 1930s. So I'll definitely be getting a lot more come the 40s, 50s, and 60s. There's a longer list for those of ones I'm planning on watching. But yeah, these are where I'm starting. So I've got 5 movies to start out with. And who knows when I'll actually have time to watch them. But when I do end up watching them, maybe I'll give you a brief review, or at least just an idea of what I think about it in the musical movie category. And how my little experiment that I'm doing, really just something that I was curious about doing for myself. Why did it come up? I don't remember why it came up. I think I saw a list of best musicals of all time. No, it wasn't that. Somehow this came up, and then I was like, well, let me just see what the best musical for each year was. So then I was like, okay, each year, what was the best musical? And so it kind of went from there. And I don't know that I'm necessarily getting one from each year, but I found different lists about different musicals, and I put together my own list through, I did 1920s, 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, whatever those were called, and 2020s. So I have a long list of a whole bunch of movies, and we'll see how long it takes me to get through this list. We'll see how long it takes me to lose interest in this project and not do it anymore. So yeah, that's something I'm doing right now. Yeah, if you ever want insight into how my brain functions, these are the kind of things I like to do. When I was a little kid, I always wanted, I didn't actually do it, but I always wanted to just go to the library and read from A to Z and read every book in order. Didn't matter if it was a book that I wouldn't be interested in. I just had to read every single book in order. Obviously, I never did that, but that was something I always just wanted to do as a kid. One thing I did do when I was younger, probably high school or something like that, was at the library where they had all their movies, I went and started at A and started watching all the movies that were there. Like whatever was there, I had to pick it up and watch it. I don't think I made it very far. I definitely didn't make it out of the A's, but it was fun because I got to watch a lot of movies that I would never have picked up. Those kind of things appeal to me. What does that say about how my brain works? Oh, and yeah, it's actually interesting because Mom says one of the unique things about me as a child was that I always liked to line up, like if there were shoes, like my family shoes, I would line them up like in a perfect row and they would have to be like color coordinated. So I'd put all the same colors together and I would organize all these shoes or whatever else it was into rows based on their color or based on something like that. Somehow that translates to me loving doing things on lists or checking things off, lists and doing things in a certain order or planning like my road trip this summer. I have a theme to my road trip and it is all about the architecture of Julia Morgan because she's the very first woman who got her architect license within the US. She's the very first woman who got into the architecture program of the School of Arts in Paris. And she's well known for Hearst Castle in San Simeon in California. But one thing she's not celebrated quite as much for are all the many, many, many other buildings, 200 plus buildings that she helped build because she was the architect for them in California. And they're all over the place. And so my plan is to hit as many of her buildings and just check out the architecture because I really liked her architecture style. But then I also recently read that book about Julia Morgan, and I want to go to Hearst Castle again. I haven't been there in quite a few years. So like I have planned certain areas I'm stopping and checking out these Julia Morgan buildings, and I'm staying at one actually in Berkeley. So yeah, these are the kind of things I like to do. These are the kind of things that make my brain happy. The chapter that I read yesterday and then what I'm currently reading is we're getting into the aspects of Galileo's work. He was trying to make these proofs about the sun being the center of the universe and how there were so many questions by the church and by different cardinals and people within the church as to whether or not what he was saying was heretical. And what Copernicus originally, because Copernicus was dead by this time, Copernicus's idea about the sun being the center of the universe, whether that was heretical as well. Galileo was trying to make the point that his theories about science were completely separate from the Bible, and the Bible was never meant to be taken as literally as it was being taken. Well, especially after Protestantism, after Martin Luther, the church was really trying to take control, and keep Protestantism separate from Catholicism. And so they had a very hard line when it came to interpretations of the Bible and who should be able to interpret the Bible. So we're at this point where they're trying to decide whether everything that's happening that Galileo is saying is a problem, and also why is he trying to interpret the Bible when it was already determined at this big event by a whole bunch of religious dudes that the only people that should be interpreting the Bible in any way, shape, or form is the church. The fact that Galileo is kind of walking that tightrope is a little dangerous for Galileo, to be honest. And so it sounds like he was a very charismatic person, and a lot of people did really respect him and appreciate the work that he did, especially because he did create these telescopes that people could actually look in and see things that they had never been able to see before. So people really wanted to like him and wanted to believe him, at least ones that weren't completely jealous of him. And the problem, though, is that he just keeps pushing, and understandably, because he wants his theories to hold weight. But at this point, there isn't any evidence that he can point to and say, this is the reason. We're at this point where he's really, really just grasping at straws because he doesn't have that physical evidence. And because he's being so pushy about everything, I think it's going to get him into some trouble. Okay, so Mom got back from her trip. She went on an elders luncheon. A lot of the different tribes have these elder luncheons, and they all come together to have this big, beautiful dinner, and they have prizes and stuff like that. It's just really nice. Like, Mom gets to go on these little trips to these different areas and celebrate being an elder with other elders. So she has a great time, and she always brings goodies back. So this time around, she ended up getting these little beaded necklaces. Apparently these are antique beads. That was what the lady told her. They have little teeny tiny charm, and I got a giraffe. But Mom's calling these friendship necklaces, and so she's been giving them out to like my aunt and other people, and then she gave one to me, and she has one. She's gonna give one to Jordan. So she's been giving out these friendship necklaces to different people. So that was one of the things. And then she bought me these gorgeous, let's see if you can see them. Yeah, you can. These gorgeous salmon earrings. I really love these, and I love big dangly earrings, as I mentioned before. So it was really nice of her to get me some pretty salmon ones. So I got those. I like them a lot. Then she brought home one of the beautiful bouquets that they had on the table, so we can enjoy that, because we both love flowers. So we have that sitting over there so we can enjoy it. And then she got a door prize, or she ended up getting some kind of prize. And part of the prize were these little teeny pillows. They're so little. They're pretty, but they're little. They're very small. And this is the other one. And she was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with these tiny, tiny pillows. But I was thinking that in my class, eventually, I will either have a calm corner or a nook where my library is going to be. And I figured these would be perfect size pillows for the kids. So I'm gonna keep these in my stash of teacher stuff, and I'll be able to put them in my little calm corner. I think these are beautiful, and I think these are the perfect size for kids. And then, since at one of the recent art events that we went to with the tribe, we made our own drums. This was the one that I made. Mom's been either wanting to make or look for drumsticks to go with it. So she, ooh, that sounds good. She found these ones, which are beautiful. They're absolutely stunning. This one's got green, and she found another one that has blue on it for her. So we have our drums now, which we do want to eventually decorate, and I need to like actually do some weaving back here to make that look better. So that's my haul. Just wanted to share some of the things that Mom brought back with her from her trip, and it's nice to have her home. Cece and the cat are very happy she's home as well, and now I need to get back to reading. I'm like at 25 minutes left for the evening, and I'm just getting sleepy. So I needed to take a break. I needed to walk away from it for a second. So I was like, oh, well, I'll try on my new earrings, because Mom changed the earring posts. And I'll tell you about what she brought back, but now I've got to go back and read. Okay, so I have finished my hour and 20 minutes, and I'm currently at page 104. So let's see. About right there. It was hard the last like 30 minutes because I was like reading a sentence, then falling asleep, then reading a sentence and falling asleep. And I didn't fall asleep, but I just kept like, so I had to read a few sentences over again. But I made it, and that's it. That's all I can do tonight. I can't read Jade Legacy. I can't do anything else. I'm gonna go wash my face and get in bed and sleep and get a little extra sleep tonight because I'm so tired. I like a walking zombie. Exhausted. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens tomorrow on day 5? Day 5. This week's going quick. Good night.